embarrassing at this level that they put out that sort of stuff, and they've been doing it second half after second half after second half, this second half aside.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
and so there's no argument that they deserve to go down, and whoever qualifies from the tournament below to come up deserves to come up. Whether Featherstone pull it out of the bag in the playoffs or Toulouse keep going how they've been going on. Yes, they've been able to rest a bit more, but at the same, and maybe not had as many injuries or whatever, but at the same token, they haven't had the ability to play every week and get into what should be top. Imagine if they'd have played every week. They might have been scoring 100 every week rather than 50, because they might have been even more finely tuned than they were.
Yeah, they might have been. I think it's all ifs and buts. I think it's a storm in a teacup, and you know what Bowman's like. He's very good with storms in teacups.
Yeah, and you know, it's just a fucking precursor for him pulling all his money out again and giving no one contracts, and then all of a sudden he pops back up the next week after he's cancelled everyone's contracts.
Yeah, well, I think the rugby league ought to have learnt the lesson the first time round, and if he starts mucking around like that again, then hopefully we won't see him back in the game.
But he puts his money into it, and he does care about his club, and he does support his club very well. So we've got to say, to some extent, he at least has an opinion on the situation of his own club. But he shouldn't be talking about legal challenges about promotion and relegation when there was no real legitimate, on-field reason for his side to have been in the competition at all.
No, indeed. Should we move on from Beaumont?
Yes, so the standings. We already know that Catalans will finish top, and St Helens now locked into second and get a week off in the playoffs along with Catalans. Warrington will now finish first and will host whoever finishes sixth in week one of the playoffs. Wigan have secured fourth with their win, and Leeds and Castleford losing. Wigan will host whoever finishes fifth in the playoff. That'll be the opening game of the playoffs. Now Wigan will be playing on the Thursday night. Hull KR are the biggest winners this week. They're up to fifth from seventh. Leeds are occupying sixth, the last playoff spot. Hull KR visit Leeds in round 25 in an effective playoff for the playoffs. Castleford have dropped down to seventh, but a win on Thursday against Warrington and they will be in the playoffs and will earn an away trip to Warrington the following week by doing so. The rest are irrelevant this year now, so we're not going to talk about the rest, but that's the picture that we've got. Leeds and Hull KR are playing off for fifth place, really, and Cass can finish sixth if they beat Warrington. Then they'll get to play Warrington again.
Interesting.
I'll put up a graphic on our Instagram and Twitter feeds if you want to go and check those out to see how the table could look. I've thrown draws into the mix this time around, and there is no possible way of both Leeds and Hull KR getting into the playoffs, because if they draw, that's if Castleford win. If Castleford win. So if Castleford win, they're definitely in. If Leeds and Hull KR draw, Castleford win, Castleford are still in.
Right. So there's definitely something on those games, and I'm looking forward to watching those this week.
Stat line of the week's obviously Alex Walmsley, isn't it? One try assist, 13 tackle busts, 275 metres and 4 clean breaks. That wasn't even close to surpassed by anyone else this week. I'd also probably throw him out there as player of the week as well. I don't think I need to get cute around it. That's just the situation. He was so dominant.
Yep. And for me, highlight of the week was Alex bursting downfield and sticking Tommy Makinson away. That was very. I was right behind it, and it was a sight to behold, I've got to tell you. So Alex gets all three for me. What's your highlight of the week, Mark?
Well, I'm going to go slightly off field, but Tom Andrews has already covered it. But it was Mossy Masoi, his sort of farewell match, as it were. Not the walking out, that was fantastic. The interview he did with Tony Smith alongside him as well, with Jenna at the end of the game, which Tom obviously wouldn't have seen when he's done his reviews. That was really great as well. And
good shout, Mark.
It's been an inspiration through this journey that he's been on since his injury. To be honest, before that, I'd not paid much note of him off the field. I'd had a couple of people tell me he was a nice guy. I know someone who worked in one of the kids' hospitals around that way and said that Mossy had been in there. I think one of his kids might have been poorly at some point or something, and how really amazing he was when he go and visit and stuff and that sort of stuff. So I'd already heard positive things about him, but I hadn't paid too much attention to it. But the journey over the last year and a half for him, the way he's carried himself, the way he's conducted himself, it's been outstanding. And there's a lot more support needed once he's moved back and got set up. But hopefully the support he's been given so far at least means he can move into a modified home that will be suitable for him and his needs going forward. Because hopefully we've got a lot more of that smile to see over the years. Let's
hope so. It was very, very popular when he was at Saints. Very popular member of the club, and it's been an appalling thing to happen to him. It's going to affect him for the rest of his life, but I'm sure he'll take happy memories of being at Hull KR, and he's made a lot of friends over here in the English game, and good luck to the guy.
Yep. In terms of the predictions, I went 4 out of 6. Sarah went 2 out of 6 from last week. In terms of the obviously the game between our two sides was a crucial one in that. In terms of the host Super Brew, Alan's still top and you're still second, David. Sarah has the spoon this week. I wear the yellow cap this week, and Tim G is down. I think Tim G's not even made a prediction for half the season, if I'm honest with you. He's been far too busy getting married and cheating on us with rugby union as well, and football. But no, I'm only kidding. In the main Super Brew, things are interesting. Craig the expat cast fan stays at the top with Simon Milford Tiger in second place. There's less than a point different between the two of those. John Locke of Rugby League Analytics is in third place and still in contention, as is our Alan. He's in fourth place and still in contention. Wooden Spoon this week goes to Fat Boy Rob, who's slipped maybe out of contention, but not quite, but he's slipped down to 8th place now. Yellow cap is being worn by Joe Newman, Hull FC fan. So well done to Joe. Okie dokes. Thanks everyone for their fan views on this week's games. It was nice to get something in on all the games, especially because some of the games didn't really matter that much. We're now going to move on to other results. Other results time. We'll start with the Women's Super League, as we always do. Castleford 6, St Helens 50 in a game that didn't quite live up to the potential billing there. But well done to Saints. They're nailing down their top 2 spot. Leeds 28, Wigan 10 was the other result. That was the Twitch game. Some good tries scored by Leeds in that game. Wigan just haven't had enough in this playoff phase with some key injuries and selection issues. In the Shield, it was Warrington 18, Featherstone 34 in a good high-scoring game there. Into the Championship, where it was round 21, the penultimate round, and we'll first talk about Batley versus Dewsbury, the heavy woolen derby, which went the way of the visiting Rams, 31 points to 24, and we had a fan view.
We did. Fat Boy Rob says, best game of the weekend with the Germans. Some decent tries, big hits, and a top fight, which included a headbutt, which got a deserved red. Dewsbury ran out winners despite being down to 12 for 25 minutes. Got to meet Hollywood Ben Thaler in the beer garden after the match. He had a decent game, to be fair.
Yeah, Carsten was over with a friend of his. They went to the game. Rob joined him. Carsten had his This Week in League ref's fault scarf, as he always does, and they managed to snag a photo with Ben Thaler with the scarf. Obviously, a good sport is old Hollywood Ben. And so there's that picture's on our Instagram feed at Super League Pod on Instagram if you want to have a look at that. But great fun was had there. And Paul Sykes went past 2,500 career points as well.
Wow.
Oldham 24, Newcastle 38. It was Widnes 10, Bradford 9 in a close game that apparently seemed to go on and on and on forever in the last minute of that one, but Widnes edged it. London Broncos 28, Featherstone 48. Whitehaven 19, Halifax 6. Big win for Whitehaven, important win for them. You'll explain that when we get to the standings. Sheffield 28, Swinton 34. So Swinton pull out a win after it's too late for them, but well done to them. And Toulouse versus York was cancelled because York are part-time, so didn't have to travel.
So in the standings, Toulouse are locked in first with Featherstone second. All the competitors for third lost this week. So it stays Halifax, Bradford, Batley and London filling the other playoff spots in that order. Whitehaven are still alive, though. They visit Bradford next week while London travel to York. The rest are now irrelevant, and Oldham and Swinton are relegated.
Yeah. This will be interesting. Whitehaven, Bradford, and London, York are the games, really, the key games next week. League One, round 18, the final round of that competition. North Wales 44, London Scholars 0. Barrow 76, West Wales 0. West Wales did their best to raise a side for this game, but to make sure Barrow could seal the deal on their trophy win. So they finished top. Workington 14, Hunslet 32. Maybe a bit of an upset there. Hunslet going into the playoffs with a wet sail. Doncaster 26, Keighley 28. This was key in deciding who finished where, really, which you'll get to in a moment. But big win for Keighley on the road. And Rochdale 50, Coventry 22.
So in the standings, Barrow have confirmed their top spot and secured promotion. Workington finished second with North Wales third, Keighley fourth, Doncaster fifth and Hunslet sixth. Hence the importance of the win this weekend. Those five sides will now battle out on the promotion playoffs. Rochdale finished seventh, Coventry eighth, Scholars ninth and West Wales get the wooden spoon.
Yeah, so basically with those results, it meant Keighley jumped over Doncaster and North Wales finished third. So obviously for playoff placing wise, that's
important.
Yeah, all pretty key. NRL, it was the playoffs, week one of the finals, as they call it, down under. Storm 40, Sea Eagles 12, so clearly there was a class above there from the Storm. Roosters 25, Titans 24 in a close one. Panthers 10, Rabbitohs 16 in another close one. Tom Burgess coming off the bench to rampage for 212 metres.
And we had a fan view on this from Alan Walker. Top finals game, the White Rabbit beats the Black Cat. They said the bunny was soft. They said they couldn't win without Trell rested for the Grand Final 2022. Well, it was all guts and glory. The Bunnies D won it by closing down the best attack in rugby league and kept them to only one try. It would have been a great final. Shame it wasn't, but they'll meet again in the Grand Final. The Panthers just need to beat the Storm. Just tell Alice. Glory.
Yep, and it was the Eels 28, the Knights 20 in the final one there. I think there was some controversy in that one because Twitter seemed to suggest there was, but I wasn't watching it. I did watch a little bit of the Panthers-Rabbitohs game, but...
Yeah, I watched a little bit, despite my self-imposed ban on watching any NRL rugby. I did watch the second half of the Roosters-Titans game, and it was a good game. And to be honest, the Titans really ought to have won it at the end, but just lost the composure with the line at their mercy.
Yep, so that's all the other results swiftly covered for you there. We're now going to move on to our predictions for the next week's games. Right, okay, round 25, the final round of Super League, David, starts. There's two Sky games, and they're the two important games. We'll talk a little bit around what people might do with team selections in some of the games as well, though, as we've kind of alluded to throughout. So, Thursday night, 7:45pm, Sky is showing Castleford versus Warrington. We've already said winning in for Castleford. Castleford will, you have to think, be doing everything they can to get the likes of Watts, Millington, McShane, maybe Gareth O'Brien fit